Welcome to Engaged Company Culture, a podcast directed at you, helping you to stop the employee exodus in your organization. This podcast has 3 different types of episodes. First, you have tips, tricks, observations, stories, research from me, Dr. Catherine Weiberg of Profitable Alignment. Second, interviews with other consultants, other coaches who are here to serve you so you can learn other tips and tricks to engaging your employees, to stop the employee exodus, to consciously create and continue a company culture where people want to be and where they encourage other people to come to work and to become your customers. Third, I interview other business leaders who have engaged company cultures and want to share their stories. You might learn from them how they have applied principles of company culture to increase their employee retention, increase their profits, increase their productivity, and increase everyone's job satisfaction. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. My guest today is Gary Gradley, the Purpose Coach. He's also an author. He is helping marketplace professionals bring clarity to the future. For 23 years, Gary Gradley was a corporate trainer, business coach, and a trusted advisor, working with over 20,000 leaders, employees, and individuals throughout Canada, the USA, and Australia. He became a trusted advisor for many corporations. During the 2009 recession, he shifted his mission and founded On Purpose People Perform to help people discover and act upon their purpose to make a positive difference in the world. This is one of the reasons I got really excited about talking to Gary. His vision encompasses a global movement of purpose-driven leaders, equipping over 100,000 inspired people to have a meaningful impact by acting upon their purpose and addressing the world's problems. Gary, welcome to Engaged Company Culture.
Thank you, Dr. Catherine. I'm excited to be here as well.
I want first for our viewers to understand the On Purpose People Perform perspective, how that came to be and how that fuels you.
Wow. Yeah. And so the name really speaks to what it is, right? When people are on purpose, they are high performing. I think many of you and certainly your listeners have experienced that. And so let me see here. It was probably during the last recession. That's when this, I made this transition, and I have this habit of following my heart, and I'm glad I do, because it's always worked out pretty good. Some of your listeners can relate to that. Probably whenever you follow your heart, that's usually the best decision. It may not always be easy, but it's usually the best decision, and often leads to success. And so I just saw, because I'm working with 20,000 plus employees, that it really struck me as that and from my own experience, that when I followed my heart and I was on passion, I was on purpose, following my passion, I was high performing. So it made sense to me. Hey, organizations, ministries, or businesses, they ought to be doing this too. To really try to identify what are the employees' key strengths and their, let's call it, career calling, and then try and give them a role which is in alignment with that. And then they're going to blossom. They're going to be high performing, and they're going to have great impact. So that's kind of it made sense to me. And more organizations, certainly now, that's critical in terms of employee engagement and especially retention right now, and always performance and sustainability. So that's kind of the context.
Thank you. I admit I especially love that you said having employees in alignment with their strengths and what they enjoy, because we hire people based on their job resumes and interviews, But everybody that we hire brings so much more to an organization. And the reason that they applied for the job is because they identified in some way, often in purpose, and how they can show up in the world, how they can improve the organization, how they can contribute to the organization. And when we grab onto those strengths, just like you mentioned, and put them where they will blossom and where they can fill that purpose, it's amazing what people can accomplish.
Let me just reference a quick statistic here. I'll talk some more about this later, that if someone's not fulfilled in their work, there's a 1% chance of them being fulfilled in their life. Like, it just shows you how profoundly critical it is to be fulfilled in your work, in alignment with your colleague.
Oh, that's a painful statistic.
Yeah.
I'd never had thought of that one. And that's painful and powerful. So what are the benefits of being purpose-driven?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, there's different levels. So I could talk on the individual level, or I can talk as a business leader, business level. Which one might you suggest we cover first?
My thought is, because we are talking to business leaders, we want them to understand both sides, their purpose and helping their employees reach their individual employee purposes and how that's going to build. Is that an acceptable approach?
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, the power of purpose. Wow. And so I think certainly from a personal, and for an individual, I mean, in fact, could I ask your listeners to close their eyes for just a moment and recall a time or the last time when you were on track, you were loving what you were doing, you were excited, you had lots of energy towards it. In essence, you were on purpose, whatever that project might be, and maybe short term, longer term, and just relive for a moment what you were experiencing, and what were the emotions that you were filled with, and what was the state that you were in. So just for a moment. Yeah, and with eyes open again, and I'm guessing to a large extent, right? You were high energy, you were focused, you had energy and commitment and conviction and clarity, and you were fulfilled. So it's a great way to live your life, So that's on that level, and when we're on purpose, it unlocks our personal power. And we have hope and resilience and commitment and strength, and we can work long hours, when we're loving what we're doing. So there's all kinds of personal benefits. If I was going to quote any statistics, can I just quote a couple for the individual when they're on purpose? That if they're on purpose, they're 50% more likely to be in leadership. That they have a 40% increase in their abundance in their life, abundance in many areas of their life, 54% more abundant and fulfilling relationships, 31% increase in feelings of being in love. Isn't that amazing? And we all want to feel like we're in love. Okay, let me just one last one here, section. In terms of health and well-being, better physical health, 32% less doctors and visits. And this is all done again by research by the large consulting firms. 7+ years longer. So, okay, this is key, especially in these days. Better mental, emotional health, cognition, and executive function, brain function. 42% greater commitment and reduction in fear. Contentment. 40% greater contentment and reduction in fear and anxiety. And 539% increase greater resiliency and grit. And those are pretty powerful, right? For the individual. Yeah.
Those are amazing, and they fit in with so many. I've had several other podcasts where we've talked about health and wellness and stress reduction and anxiety and feeling engaged at work, because engaged company culture is the name of the podcast. So it all feeds in with all of those fantastic statistics that you just shared, and how purpose can help with all of those other things. It's amazing.
It truly is. Like, it just blows me away, like the power of purpose in one's life and in a business.
So how can business leaders help their individuals, their coworkers, their team members, their direct reports to achieve that purpose or to pursue and feel that purpose?
Yeah, well, I think they, as a leader, business owner, et cetera, you really want to recognize the value of this, and then invest something, a process for your people where they can assess their strengths, their giftings, their talents, their career calling, desires, and really crystallize that. And then ultimately, if the business is able to move them into roles or create new roles that are fully in alignment for that. And the best you can do that's where you're going to really increase that person's purpose-driven ness, and they'd be on purpose. And can I share just a couple more stats in that regard?
Yes.
Just a few? Okay. And so purpose, so this one blows me away, that purpose is 2 times more important than compensation or career advancement.
I believe that based on other statistics showing why people leave.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
my own
totally.
observation.
Yeah, that was PricewaterhouseCoopers 2019. Purpose-driven individuals are 2 times more likely to learn every day. They're 4 times more engaged, and they're 5 times more productive. Right? Yeah.
Isn't that what we all want? And leaders and grant providers and investors, they all want to see those bottom line results, and recognizing what can get those bottom line results can be astonishing. Sometimes I think in business, especially the larger business gets, it's so easy to look at, oh my goodness, how can we increase the bottom line? How can we serve our shareholders? How can we increase sales and so forth? But recognizing that engagement and purpose and value and proper alignment create those productive moments and long-term productivity and enjoyment, that through proper alignment, the profits automatically follow. The bottom line automatically increases and everything grows.
It's so true. And at some levels, it's sort of obvious, but and I mean, it makes sense. Let's put it that way. It makes logical sense, and clearly, there's lots of evidence for this, even in your own life, as a listener, that you've experienced this in your own life in leadership and management as an owner. Well, when you put someone in the right position and they love it, then they just flourish. They're high performing. They become great leaders as well. They're the best advocates for your business. And I have just a few more stats. Is that okay?
That's fine. This is kind of fun for me.
Okay, good. So purpose-driven companies have, purpose-driven leaders lead purpose-driven organizations, ideally, right? It makes sense. And so 333% increase in organizational commitment, which is really engagement, isn't it? Like 300+%. 43% higher levels of retention, which is critical these days, and tension and tenure 7.4 months longer than if they weren't, on purpose, and 54% more fulfilling relationships in the workplace.
That is absolutely wonderful. Even the Gallup study on engagement and their 12 questions, part of those questions talk about relationships at work. And the fact that you brought that up, that's in the Gallup survey, that's in my own engagement survey. You'll find it in several, that they want to know, do people have friends at work? Do people feel like anybody cares about them?
Yeah.
Well, if everybody there is on purpose, then they have that opportunity for helping each other, because they are so excited about what they're doing that it just kind of flows over into helping others do well what they're doing. And let's get this entire organization reaching its purpose. It's often, we refer to it as mission and vision, but it's the reason that the original founder started it, the purpose of the organization, the reason that it was started, and then how can that expand? What can we do with it?
And that's why it's critical, especially in these changing times. If, for a leader owner, they may need to re-envision the business and then get, recast a mission and a vision, right? And when we're clear on that and we're passionate about that, we're going to communicate it with such conviction. It's going to be a compelling vision. And as you said, we will automatically inspire our employees, associates, stakeholders, especially if it's purpose-driven, because they want to know they're contributing to something much greater than just the profit. Yeah,
it's true. I love that you were talking about reimagining, because in my reframe, rewrite, redesign model, it is recognition of where did you start and what got you here. Seeing what do we like about what got us here, what do we wish we could change. So now we can rewrite our current status quo. So this goes along with your reimagining. We can write our present based on our understanding of our past and even our understanding of our present. And now we can redesign. Maybe we'll reimagine the mission and the vision. Maybe we'll get realigned with the purpose. Originally, maybe the purpose has changed, but the recognition of being able to redesign, reimagine, reinvent, it all comes together with recognizing the purpose, recognizing the alignment, and helping people get there from here.
There's a great quote by Einstein that says that imagination is more powerful than knowledge, right? So it's that ability to imagine and re-envision, the future. And yeah, for corporations, it's fundamentally, it's critical. And so think bigger too, especially in 2023, which, there's lots of talk in terms of the economy and so on. But hey, you know what? And so this is what I've discovered. In fact, we're going to be doing a powerful webinar on this very, very soon. And it's entitled, Create Clarity and Certainty in an Uncertain World. And what I've discovered in talking to many, many people, leaders and so on, is that, when we are so focused on our purpose and we're inspired by that, we don't even really see much of the noise and distractions out there, and so purpose serves a very powerful function in terms of creating our own certainty in an uncertain world. Especially as a business owner, business leader, I believe that it's critical that each of us raise our own level of certainty as the world becomes even more uncertain. And we can best do that by having clarity on our purpose and moving forward with it with full passion.
I absolutely love that you brought that up, because we are still seeing people in a great reshuffle where millions and millions of people every month are leaving their jobs for greener pastures, and they are moving from what they might have felt was certainty into a big realm of uncertainty. And I don't want to take away from the webinar that's coming up, but I would love to hear a little bit more about how we can help those people who are leaving create their certainty, preferably right here where they are in the uncertainty. If it's best for them to move on, maybe we can help them with that, but creating our own certainty. Do you mind expanding on that a little bit?
Absolutely. And what I learned, and so actually, there's 7 key proven mindset principles that we'll be talking about during the webinar. And these are principles that I've actually learned and experienced when in my own corporate training business in the last recession, 2008, 2009. So do I have a moment to share my story there to give it context?
Yes, please.
Okay. So here I am. Yeah, I have my own corporate training business for 20 plus years. Yeah, et cetera. And we 20,000 plus people. And it was all going great until that 2008, 2009, where corporations often spend $0 on speakers and trainers, at least what we were delivering. And so here I am, I'm working extremely hard, the hardest I've ever worked for an entire year, and I have zero income. I rack up $50,000 in credit card debt, living off my credit card, single family income earner. And I become literally, I'm overwhelmed by the financial stress, and nothing's happening, and my focus is entirely there, and I actually become cynical and hopeless. it's the worst place ever to be. I would not wish it on anybody. And that went on for several months until February 2009, winter morning. And I'm sitting in my side office right over here. And I just decided I'm sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. And I'm never going to choose to feel hopeless ever again. And the light bulb went off. I had an epiphany. Well, Gary, it's just a choice. You can choose to feel hopelessness, or you can choose to feel hope. I decided in that moment I would never choose to feel hopeless ever again, because it's just a choice. And so I learned that was a key principle. That's one of the key principles we'll be covering in essence at the webinar. And it's about the power of our choice. It's what we choose to focus on mentally, emotionally, and we know what we focus on expands typically. And so it's really taking, every moment we're choosing, consciously or unconsciously. So it's really taking more charge of that and kind of training our brain to look for positive evidence and not all the negative evidence, which is so easy to find, especially with the media these days. But to look for positive evidence, and the most positive evidence is to have our biocomputer focused on our purpose and the impact we're having in our industry, or certainly in the world, and certainly for social impact. So that's one of the key principles, and there's others that are just as powerful.
That is fantastic. Thank you. Now, tell us again, when will your webinar be taking place?
Yes, so it's January 10th, 11th, and 12th, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, January 10, 11, 12. And yeah, so we'd love for you to attend. It's complimentary, and you'll get great value. It's a value-packed complimentary webinar, and really a great way to kickstart 2023 with clarity and confidence and full alignment. Getting more alignment and more insight into your calling, your career calling, your purpose, and to reduce the overwhelm and some of those things, and to really focus on. So I want to explain the focus part for a moment here. Okay.
Yes.
I have my magnifying glass here, right? We all know what a magnifying glass does. We're going to take the sun's energies and we're going to focus them into a very narrow beam, just like a laser beam. And we know that there's power there in the laser beam that can burn through obstacles. And our purpose, when we have clarity on it, is exactly the same thing as our magnifying glass. That enables us to really be totally focused, not see all the distractions, and make really good progress with passion that fuels that. And so again, the purpose, when we have clarity and purpose, it really gives us that passion and that power to move forward despite any of the obstacles. So that's what we're going to help you to do, to kick that off with these 7 mental mindset principles. And this is way beyond a New Year's resolution. This is not a New Year's resolution thing, right? And this is a way to be inspired to make sustainable commitments beyond a New Year's resolution. And it's 3 hours over 3 days, and the outcome will be to help you create clarity, confidence, commitment, and success in 2023. So please don't miss it. Come and join us. You'll be glad that you did, because remember that clarity is power and creates certainty.
I love that. And I am going to put the link in the show notes. So everybody who is listening, make sure that you check the link in the show notes. If you would like to state the link, you may, and I am going to put it in there as well. Would you like to state it?
Sure, I'll just quickly verbalize it. So yeah, www.onpurposepeopleperform.com/create-clarity.
Perfect.
Okay.
I am excited. I plan to be there. I think it's going to be helpful to everybody, as we often think about, as you mentioned, New Year's resolutions. Always our New Year's resolutions have the goal in our minds and hearts to make life changes. And sometimes they just get so overwhelming. We get all excited about, oh, new year, new me. And what you're talking about is more than a goal. It is a full recognition of who you are and who you want to be, so that your clarity gives you focus, gives you success. And it's not, I love that you said this is not a New Year's resolution.
Mm-hmm.
This is a reframe. This is an opportunity to, I realize I keep mentioning my framework, but it's an opportunity to reframe, rewrite, and redesign. Absolutely. As you discover your purpose, get really clear on it, and bring that into the new year, new you, to embrace the current you. It's not just change who I am, but embrace who you are and become clear on how and who you want to be moving forward. I love that you use the term your career calling. What are you really purpose called to do in this life, in this year, in this moment, and how can you focus on it moving forward?
Yeah, there's a seed of greatness within each one of us, which is most alive when we are on purpose, right?
Absolutely.
And we create our future, especially when we're on purpose.
Absolutely. Gary, this has been wonderful. I hope that everybody listening has had epiphanies and joy like I have had in everything that you have shared. I'm going to get all of your links into the show notes. Everybody listening or viewing, please look at this webinar. This is a great opportunity to understand how you can be on purpose and help the other people around you be on purpose. Again, that is onpurposepeopleperform.com/create-clarity. Again, it will be in the show notes. Gary, thank you for being here.
Dr. Catherine, thank you so much, and keep up the great work that you're doing on purpose.
Thank you for listening to or viewing today's Engaged Company Culture episode. I hope you have enjoyed the episode. I hope you have learned something and have something that you can apply today to engage your company culture and encourage your employees to enjoy work, looking forward to Mondays instead of only looking forward to Fridays. If you liked this episode, please share it with someone else you know. Also, like and subscribe to Engaged Company Culture anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thank you and have a wonderful day.